Hello, this song is called In the V, and this is another of the collaborative poems. I think this is the final of the collaborations put together by Jean. And In the V refers to when you get sort of two hills meeting on the horizon, you get that kind of V shape. And that's where the light sits, so the light sits brightest. So the main lyric I've drawn from this is the light sits brightest in the V. This is actually part of a longer poem, but I've just taken the first bit of it really, just trying to keep things simple and not too much text to have to remember. So this is two parts. So there's a bass line that repeats over and over again, which is the easiest option, but that also goes in a canon, so that makes it a little bit more interesting. And then over the top of it we have a melody line that carries a bit more of the text, and the sort of, I suppose the thought in my mind when I was writing this one was about the kind of hills and ups and downs, and so the bass line kind of does an upward hill, and the melody line does more of a sort of downwards one, and then they kind of meet in the middle every now and then and create a V where they come together. It was slightly accidental the way that happened, but I quite like to think there was something a bit serendipitous about that. The sort of melody and the bass line ended up sort of reflecting what was happening in the words really. So again, you know, an easy option and a slightly more complicated option. So the first line, which I'm kind of giving to the lower voices, but anybody could sing it. The text is, light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. And we're starting this. It's basically a C minor scale, working up and then coming down, up the hill and down. So we have, light sits brightest in the V, light sits brightest in the V. Next line, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. And then we'll repeat those words, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. So we come all up and then we work back down again in a minor scale. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. Obviously I'm singing this an octave higher than you would be doing it. Started down there on a low, so you light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill. Just watch that little hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. So I'll just play you the bass line and then where it comes in canon, so you can just have a little sing along. So here it is.
Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to where hill nudges up to light, where hill nudges up to V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to where hill nudges up to light, where hill nudges up to V.
Okay, so that's the bass line, and that's all that is really. So that's the easy option. You've only got one line of text and one melody to learn. Over the top of that, we've got a melody which kind of hangs across it and sort of slightly goes across the beat a little bit. And the lyrics I've chosen for this are, that patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. Heathers lean out across the path, more sheep. Moth flickers over fern, brook chuckles just the same. And then we repeat that line, brook chuckles just the same, and then we join in with the light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill. So the melody line is again in this C minor harmonic minor. The patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. That patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. So just watch out for that da-da-dee, that kind of sharpened seventh, that da-da-da-da-da-da-dee. Then we have similar idea. Heathers lean out across the path, more sheep. Heathers lean out across the path, more sheep. I'll put those two lines together. I'll just make sure I'm on. Yeah, okay. So starts 1, 2, 3. That patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. Heathers lean out across the path, more sheep. So the timing is quite crucial in this one, because obviously when it sits across the bass line, we need to make sure that the parts are really together. So I'll just beat the time just once more with that one. So in fact, if I just play the tune, that would probably be easy, wouldn't it? Let me just play the tune. Here we go. That patch of sunlight on the ridge, 2, 3, is 4. Getting smaller. 1, 2, 3, 4. Heathers lean out across the path, more sheep. 1, 2. Next bit. Moth flickers over fern. Again, it's that same little melody line, but if you can make flicker sound like it's flickering, make it light. Moth flickers over fern, brook chuckles just the same. And again, make a little chuckle there, a little bit of word painting. So we've got flicker and chuckle. Brook chuckles just the same. And because I like the idea that it's just doing the same thing, we just do it again. Brook chuckles just the same. Okay, so a little bit of sort of, obvious word painting there. So, and the last line, we kind of join a little bit with what the bass line is doing. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. Okay, and at that point we should be with the basses in terms of where the lyrics are. I'll play the whole of the tune. Sing along. That patch of sunlight on the ridge, 2, 3, is getting smaller. 2, 3, 4. Heathers lean out across the path, more sheep. 2, 3, 4. Moth flickers overhead, brook chuckles just the same. Brook chuckles just the same. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. So what I'll do now, I'll just play the bass line on its own once, and then I'll just pop the tune in over the top so you can see how the two fit together. So I won't put the bass in canon just yet. Okay, so.
Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up.
Here comes the 2, 2, 3. That patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. Heathers lean out brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill, that patch and so on. Okay, and to end it, I think all I'm going to say is that we just end on the very last line. Light is brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to. Just repeat that line over the hill nudges up to over and over again until everybody's on it, I guess. So probably just be a bit of a fade out as the light fades out. So that is In the V. And as I say, take your pick whether to just go with the bass line. As I say, it doesn't have to be all the low voices on that one, but if you fancy doing the lyrics, and they're not complicated lyrics, that's the options on that one. Okay, so thank you very much. See you for the next one.
Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill.
That patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. Heathers lean out across the path. More sheep. Moth flickers over fern. Brook chuckles just the same. Brook chuckles just the same. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, where hill nudges up to hill. That patch of sunlight on the ridge is getting smaller. Heathers lean out across the path. More sheep. Moth flickers over fern. Brook chuckles just the same. Brook chuckles just the same. Light sits brightest in the V, where hill nudges up to hill, 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 where hill nudges up to hill.